당도 Papa Chenrezig and Nije Sanye Tamchiki Nije and Sugu number Shivi Papa Chenrezig said that the Solipje Omani Pim Hung said the Dundade Kasaki said the Karchungos and Dabi Lunga Yusum said and Sanye and then Kusun Tusum the Daba Kyun Tamchiki Sepiki and the Dabi Lunga Yusum said. 다 많이 빼매 세대 많이 세대 노르고체 빼매 세대기 안에 동의되게 아까 소리 매도 빼마지 디기 안에 탑탄 시럽이 청구를 했는데 제자당 안주 유가 유심디 내 상기기 지금 바바 젠제지기 꾸나시 대 유가 유심 뭐 답이 꾸스미 뭐 규야래야 안에 가는 냠네 지월에서네 안에 노보다 빼마니기 안에 댐비기 천비기다 탑시 람탑시 일이 냠네 지월에 제가 봐봐 진짜지 걸어야 남탑신이 냠는 제제 한 답이 구스모 교월에 아주이냐 아니 띵냠는 제제 한 답이 구스모 교고를 해야지 먼저 뒤고 시사로.
Good afternoon. We're continuing then to look at the practice relating to Arya Chenrezig, the deity of compassion, who holds with compassion all sentient beings. We're looking in particular at the mantra that one recites after making supplications to Arya Chenrezig for blessings so that we can give rise to all the qualities of the Buddhas within us. We first looked at the first word of the mantra, that being Om, seeing how it symbolizes the pure body, the pure speech, the pure mind of all the Buddhas, in particular in this case, that of Arya Chenrezig. So this is the resultant state that one strives to attain. So how to bring about this result? It's through cultivating the causes. And these then are represented in the next two words, Mani and Peme. Mani means jewel, Peme means lotus flower. And these symbolize the two streams of trainings or mental paths that one is to cultivate in one's continuum. Mani represents the method side that one needs to cultivate. And Peme represents the wisdom side. And these both need to be cultivated. These are the causes that need to be cultivated in order to attain the resultant state of Arya Chenrezig, as represented by the first syllable, that of Om.
지게 남탑신이 냠는 제에다 간에 시호고리에서 대가서 가상 시에되다 아주 당보 지단 개침 보여다 돌디로 시셰베 돌디도 시셰베나 다 가상한서 가르시에버스네 당보 그랬음 당고르스네 샘제 탐제 대화대 되나 샘베 삼노디 당 디젤이야 한 샘제 탐제 동화단 자와쇼 샘베게 삼노시 당 안에 디젤이야 한 샘제 탐제 대화대 된바다 동화단 자와대 네 지기 샘베 삼노시 나제 다 숨바 시바데라 아니 예심제 제상 예심제 탐지기 된다 심제 탐지 디기데 주바다 동아 자야래 다데 나라 누버 매반자 나랑 누버 침보 수요고도 상기 바바 젠데스 나신 징하 나 차고도 디인장에 심제 탐지 상기고 바 토버쇼 심베 삼로 당고레세 데콤비아딩 아주기 도진 디삼들이 안에 야도 따야 될 아주기 데니기도 삼다제 아니 따야 될 아주기 다 냠는 제바시 올때까지 냠는 제수도 아주 장도를 지고 올때가 아주 장도를 지고로 로리 야네 야도야 장도를 지고로 와.
And then yesterday we also mentioned how what the training encompasses. I mentioned this in an extremely brief format. So firstly, one generates the recognition that all sentient beings, without exception, we all want to experience lasting, stable happiness that's not punctuated by even the briefest or slightest feeling of suffering or ill ease. So all of us are the same in this way. Reflecting in this way, we then go to the second step of generating the aspiration. May all beings attain a state completely freed of suffering, attain a state of lasting, stable happiness. Then thirdly, we generate the aspiration, I want to guide them to achieve this state. I want to be able to skillfully lead them to develop all the causes within themselves to attain a state freed of suffering, a state of lasting, stable happiness. And then fourthly, with the recognition that one right now is still very limited, often confused, not really knowing what is the best way to guide people, to interact with others. One then, in the fourth step, commits to strive wholeheartedly to achieve the enlightened state of Buddhahood. In particular, in the case of this practice, the enlightened state of Arya Chenrezig. So these four steps, first recognizing the equality between ourself and all beings. Secondly, generating the aspiration, may all beings achieve the state freed of suffering and of lasting happiness. Thirdly, making the commitment that we ourselves take as a responsibility to guide others. And fourthly, to actually be able to do so, I have to strive to become the most skilled of guides, a Buddha, for the sake of others. Reflecting on this repeatedly over a sustained period is, in the briefest form, the training we need to engage in. So this term here, train, we can understand also as to practice, and what it means is to transform our way of thinking, to develop our mental capacity.
잠니제 장쇼 셈사디 가사 삼다다디 니가사 셰바티체 다 디링가르 셰바스는 아주 진바다 추림다 쇠바다 준류 네 삼대 셰르기 냠나지 다디 야셔야래 셰르기 바도.
Yesterday we spoke about very briefly again, about some of the trainings that one engages in, such as love and compassion and bodhicitta, and also mentioned that the others. And some of these we'll look at in more detail today, in particular those of generosity, ethical restraint, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom.
다 토벌쇼 삼바점이 디점 되바점 징아서 상요고바 토투고 말바 토고 말바 베나가 저기 롭셔는 나가베 지 센디바 캐바디 차와 지기 삼베 삼바점기 토 차와 차기 말바 지상아도 센디바 캐바 지기 삼베 삼로지 담자 제 차외 제라 다 센디 캐바 차에게 된다라 롭정 제의 장도를 셔야 장고로와 어디 나시래 당아저 다 심지어 탐지 동아세야 디기로벨라 네 상요고바 토바 지기 삼제 삼다요도 다 상예고바 토비알라 가르치 오르스네 다 진배 냠나지야 수배 냠나지야 준준 냠나지야 삼대 냠나 셰럽 냠나지야 디리야 발신 죽티 냠나지야 차워.
The key point here is that in one's meditation, when one gives rise to a wish to become a Buddha for the sake of others, when one gives rise to a powerful wish within one to have a positive impact on others, to never bring pain and misery into the life of others, and thereby commits to becoming the most skilled of beings for the sake of others. If one, no matter how powerful that aspiration is, that aspiration alone will not lead to the attainment of such a goal. And this is the case in all walks of life. If one wishes to become particularly skilled or renowned or in a particular field, that mere aspiration will not lead to the attainment of the goal. If one wants to become a skilled scientist and help the world through science, one has to study, one has to train. Without that, one's aspiration cannot be fulfilled. So here, having generated an aspiration to become a Buddha for the sake of others, the specific trainings one needs to engage in are the 6 perfections of generosity, ethical restraint, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom.
당한저 진배 냠는 지에 세대 가르스 제고라스는 진바 세디 저기 다 생아 저기 류롱어제 계획 ben에 개화자와나 제바 차상 샬이야 당기 인생에 삼로지고 데 진배 셈을 장해야 되지 장고 ben에 샬이야 ben아 저기 데 지게 가리 토네 로버지 셈베 삼로다 아니 야권절이야 추고 푸기 셈베 삼로디 동위 셈바지 우리 동위 셈바디 아주 디셈을 삼로딩 아주 장고고 양도 삼다 장고고 되지. 지산 디디 장바에는 삼로 누버 추 셰 두고. 당 아주 지산 데니기 누버 추 첨부 줘봐는 아주 그 삼로 디여바는 젠강아 동아이가 강아 유예디 바델이야. 안 소수기 누버 줘봐는 로바지 투야다 디 로바지 투고 봐. 근데 장 아주 귤라 Denige samlo de jangu gures, jiza tongwe semba jang se de jimbe nyamlen je se de soso le semlia dangbo di jang dor chi gore. Sosu gi da ben de long jue ro dang ne kare yin pando xian lia dunga se ya de di yu ya ya sosu gi roba kare ji tu na de su ji semba samlo ji da an konjo lia pu ya ro kare na ji chebo pu ya da kon ji semba samlo di ma zo jangu gore je.
The first of the six perfections is that of generosity. So generosity in brief is the wish to be of benefit to others. And this can be expressed through being of benefit to others through our bodies, or through physically being of benefit to others, through offering benefit to others through our material possessions, as well as through offering our virtue. So here, this training is primarily mental. In meditation, we're generating the wish to be of benefit to others through any of these ways. And here it's, as with all the trainings, it's imperative that we train ourselves repeatedly over a sustained period, because we are trying to develop a very strong habituation to want to help others, to want to help others in any way we can, whenever the opportunity presents itself. And why it's so important to train repeatedly over a sustained period is in proportion to the training that we engage in. More spontaneously or readily, the aspiration will arise to be of benefit to others, to aid others. And here, there are two streams that we can say that we direct our wish to make offerings towards. One is those of the three jewels, and the other is those of ordinary beings. So here we train ourselves repeatedly over a sustained period, generating the wish to make offerings, to be of benefit in any way we can, whenever we can. And the more we train ourselves, then the more readily we will help others skillfully and in accordance with our capacity.
Ondu chine samba changche samno naldu che samta da nga jugi nipi chobe sosogi da jike na de kundra ro da di yeba da mena da jike nga ju yenja phuya na shin chine da mangbo mena ge yu jili ya de ne jile chu ji lu che ya konjo ya ni semja tamje sanjo go ba thobe chido an sa ye le sang ye tamje phu sanbe de ne samda ya yenja chu phuya da an medo ro chungchu chi ne medo ro chi ne ye phuya ro so de ne re an di so phuya da an di me bi ge da nga ju ge da ji gi shan le ya an ro ba chi ya tho le ya so su ge ni bi ge jo bi ge da gang tu tu da ma tu we ne pe ne da nga bu sin ro chi lo de wa ro de bu ro ma ro da de ne na kha la ro de so se de ne je we ne ni ko sim jen tam ji da kwang zhe ro du kwang zhe sa ya ku yin je sam kwang zhe du nga de sen da de sim je tam ji ge don da lang ji be tang ge sim je de ne ge ji de tu tu che ba na an ne ja ro da an ne nya ro da de ne bu ro bo le da mi le ne da jo shu de ne da so su ni be ji be gang tu tu tin ro ba je de an ne je ba yin na ma ju jin be wo so la len da ya che wa 대지 삼나라 양이 뒤집었던 되긴 선배 삼로의 장도체나 삼로의 가제 숙제체나 소식이 니버였나 현래 로봇이 두고래 삼바디 되게 매나 어당할 때 투서말 삼바는 한 저기 로봇이 두고 말 지나디 삼로 장고에 대디 차고래 대지 집에 냠내서 되래
The training is primarily mental, and this is where we need to put our focus, cultivating ever stronger the wish to be of benefit to others, to ease their suffering. And we do, but we don't only engage in this practice mentally, we also do express it verbally, physically. And this we need to do in accordance with whatever our capacity is. So what's important is when we do make offerings, we do so wholeheartedly, with sincerity, without any holding back from our side. So therefore, we act in accordance with our capacity. So those who are impoverished, should they offer just one bowl of ordinary water to the three jewels? This can be a fabulous offering. The primary thing is that they do so with a good motivation. the motivation that they are making this offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And they're doing so in order to accumulate virtue on behalf of all sentient beings. So here they're just offering an ordinary bowl of water or perhaps a single flower, but they're doing so with a powerful motivation. And from this, great benefit comes. Likewise, if one has a little bit of leftover food, and one offers it, rather than just throws it away, one offers it to animals outside one's home, perhaps insects or birds or fish. In this way, benefit can come to others. And though this may just be some leftovers, so it doesn't have much in the way of value, if one has trained well, one's motivation will be powerful. One will be doing so with intention, not just throwing it away, but wanting to be of benefit to others, wanting to ease their burden of suffering. And in this way, great virtue is accumulated. And likewise with offering to human beings or to charitable organizations that help others, the more we've trained, the stronger our intention will be, the stronger our motivation will be. And this has the benefit not only that when we are engaging in offerings, that our motivation will be that much more powerful and thereby so too the merit, but we will readily seek out opportunities to be of benefit to others. And when those opportunities come our way, with joy, we'll take these opportunities, wanting to be of benefit to others. Should one not have trained well, then one will not even be aware of opportunities coming our way. So therefore, this process of developing our mind, developing this mind of generosity within us is of crucial importance, because in dependence on the strength of its development, we will offer ever more and with greater sincerity.
Onda dimbi denigi jimba tambigi jebu kare yungri labna sedeli ne sosoralia animi shandage kawuchiada ane chima kewa chima ne azulia longje yabu yungri je longje sosole ko longje digi yabu yungri jezanga no ngazu milia longje mena ane ka mangu thiore dine zanga do longje gugore jeza dine za jimbi nyamne jibi jebu di kewa chima ne ngazu mili kebe ne ane kawa kebe ne longje yabu yungri
Through the practice of generosity, benefits come to oneself in this very life, as well as others, of course. For others, their suffering is eased. For oneself, great joy arises in one's mind at being able to be of benefit to others. And moreover, through the accumulation of this virtue, in one's future lives, one will have favorable circumstances and material abundance. And this is needed. Ordinary beings, human beings, ordinary beings require material resources and a variety of favorable circumstances in order not only merely to survive, but to continue one's spiritual development. When helping others, not only does this bring joy to oneself, but the recipient, they will be appreciative of being given assistance in their time of need. So therefore, right now, there's benefit for both oneself as well as others. And the second training, that of ethical restraint. Again, it's primarily a mental training where one's cultivating the determination that today I will not harm others. I won't harm others physically. I won't harm others through my way of speaking. And I won't even think in harmful ways towards others. And this is what we need, this intention we need to generate again and again. And this is the training of ethical restraint.
네 소소이네 안 미션다에 미디 상부도 배 야고도 기시나 야고시도 배 장보를 해서 미나서 거우치요 맞아 테테디기 잠삼다벤 아니 미기 전에야 거우치면 소소이네 세메기고 흘려셔거라 미 견주에 당가지 장보 민도지 고요 주인시도 고고 당거들 견주에는 소소나 기무와 쳐거라 그래서 지금 류가 이수민이 예제되면 수rim되고 소바이나 삼모디 도자네 야노 땅바이나 디네 땅바디기 안샬리아 강한 맞죠 랑리네 디기 요바데 세디기 삼다 세치마 삼다베네 세치마 하다 미고 봐 토투고래 만절 하다 미 개와치마 하다 미고 봐 토고고나 개와 랭고에는 유디가래라서는 룽아스 예제되면 수rim소야 되래 디 수림소야 되는 개와치마 뉴바 하다 미고 봐 토고 유래 제사 되네자 더 수림소야 돼 뱀마스 계치 못 차고래
Through cultivating this determination not to harm others in any way, in dependence on the strength that we cultivate this, we then will restrain our physical behavior so that it doesn't bring harm to others. We'll restrain our way of speaking towards others so that we don't bring harm to them. And similarly, through cultivating ethical restraint, we will restrain our general way of thinking so that we don't wish for harm to come to others in any way. Through training like this, then, again, there are benefits in this very life. We don't bring harm into the lives of others. Others will have confidence when they're in our company that we will not speak to them in an abusive manner. We will not take advantage of them in any way. We will then generate a reputation where people trust us, see us as honest and reliable. And through this, we will be able to help them and be of benefit to them in further ways. So these are some of the benefits, of course, that will come in this life, as well as our relations with others being harmonious. Moreover, in future lives, great benefit comes from the practice of ethical restraint. And in fact, it's a crucial practice because the training of ethical restraint is the primary cause for rebirth in the higher realms as a human or God. So therefore, ethical restraint is of crucial importance.
nangba sanje be kewa nga chi khelin go re kewa nga chi khelin ba sa da kewa chima le ya nga zu da nga zu mi je che sa da kewa chima ya mi ji ke thu ba ina nga zu ya an ji ki ka su re ya nga zu chu che nyam nyam go ga pra wa ani xian lai pan de che ge je thu ye yo ba ni tin che ba chen che go re da mi le ma ke ba ji dun ro ro ji ke ba ina dun ro che na ga ya ko pan de che thu ya so so ran zhuo 지게 강아 망부여바 지려야 현리야 판도치야 나 취체 냠냠 고업라서다 디네 자야기니 메로 든줄 매완상아도 밀리게야데 게침보시고 레제래 지사람 데 밀리게완자다 밀리게오나 아주 규디 밀리게와치만 아주 미게 규디 가르사고서 아주 수름송해야 되래제 또 수름송해야 돼 되시셔야 되래 류가 예수님의 현리야 네바사와긴 지금이야 세베 삼로데 어두 삼다들이 디 삼다도 수름송하시고 그래
As Buddhists, the concept of reincarnation is something that we accept. And the goal that we have for ourselves of enlightenment is something that takes continuous training over an extensive period. So therefore, we need to ensure that our future rebirths are of a type that is suitable for spiritual development. Should one fall into a rebirth of an animal, spiritual progression is very difficult. No matter how much you care for your pets, you can't train them in the Dharma, you can't train them how to develop their minds. They can't read, they can't hear and understand teachings. So therefore, to ensure that we continue to achieve human rebirths is of crucial importance, and this is why ethical restraint is imperative for us who desire to spiritually progress, to become ever more skilled, to be of benefit to others. And the primary cause for rebirth as a human is ethical restraint, hence its great importance.
아니네 자당 저다 숨바디 가르쳐거스네 쇠변냠네 시오래 다 쇠변냠네 세디 다 거래랍네 베네 미션다게 소소레 뇌비기와이나 남사텔리아 아주기 콘로말랑바체 안심 마초바체 심 가소리 행자의 뒤투바지고 디고 그래 아니 아직 야 소수기 안에 소수기 밀리아 소수로 가지 제나 소수기 제스 빈의 소수 부로다 소수기 로바체서 데네 로바체베나 야 메니야 지그 델리아 안드누 소수 로바체바들이야 야고쳐서 삼마다와지 데누 소수리아 균주제야 나 소수리아 마가바체베나 소수리아 셈마투바지 델리아 코르마라바체 아주 있음 행자 뒤투바제야다 당한 저게 내가 현리에 팬비 자와라 지지에 되네 직제한테 안 깔려가 오다딩아 지투사 말해서 배삼로 연구로와 되네자 델레 약간아 오다디 니 현리에 팬비 자와다 전리 누하세야 디기루야라 자와 내가까지 신앙이 지긴 선비게 셈 안에 셈 마shum바제 셈 아니 도 네투야들라 너 수변념네 제와서 같이 셈 마추바제 강하다 현이 뇌바다 랑기 레기 온게 강하다 되네 가리여베네 셈 마추바 안에 셈 안에 시대행 안에 네투바들라 너 수변념네 디 예침부 차고 셈 추소바나 안 추려야 지내와지도 람상파 코로나바이나 코로나바이네 되네 소소의 코로나 라마기와 샬레마기와 차고 전에 되네자 수변념네 사대 예침부 차고 그래지
First training we looked at was that of generosity, the wish to give, to be of benefit to others. Then we looked at ethical restraint, the determination not to harm. Then in dependence on the training in these two, we come to the training on patience. So patience, in brief, is a patient mind is a mind that remains undisturbed in the face of adversity. So here, for example, if one is facing adversity from others, no matter what they may be saying or doing to oneself, should one be skilled in the practice of patience, one's mind stays open, spacious, relaxed, no matter what is being said to one or how someone is acting towards oneself. One's mind is not disturbed, one is not getting upset or angry at them, but rather one's mind is staying spacious, and thereby one can respond skillfully. So for example, to show why patience is so important, we heard earlier, training in generosity, we want to be of benefit to others, and with ethical restraint, we'll do so in a way that doesn't bring harm. When doing so, it is quite possible that the person that we are helping may show some ingratitude. They may even criticize one for doing so. And parents, you will know that sometimes children can display this. And if one has trained well in patience, no matter what they're saying to you, even showing ingratitude despite you going out of your way to help them, you will not become upset. Your mind will stay undisturbed, spacious and calm. And this is important not only for your own mental well-being, but the problem of getting angry or responding with anger is not only then do you harm the person before you and you become unhappy too, but this is likely to harm your resolve to be of benefit to others, to help this person again. Seeing this person as ungrateful, you may give up on them. Whereas if one has trained well in patience, one's mind will stay relaxed and spacious and not be caught up in what's being said to you. And rather, one can be of benefit to that person. So therefore, this training in patience too is of great importance.
송요라 가르송고라스네 베능아서 사지델리아베 지체마망고슈 제가제 갈레 체마요베네 당한도 마조도 강보수도 강발로 소용그로와 제자 안델리아 체마잉아조스를 뉴유스는 체마 차상 직파 장마쇠네 쇠차요 말레스 제자 안델리아 능아조 가리오라스네 한국 약보 챔제 한국 티델리아베 지도고 약보슈 갑제 한국의 권바이나 데네 체마간래 강보 가와주 조하셔나 강보를 누구 말했어. 제가 고창 체마고나 장모 수고 말해 소소랑랑기 아니 지 강보의 송급 제제도 셰베네 가호조베네 조초셔 누구 말와스. 비디나신소래. 당가서 lumba 남라야 미 콘저 처부 주의시고 자상샤 마마 마자 말여로보다 제가 디즈 차상 아주 매워 소요거서는 소요해야 갈래 하고 싶으래서 다 될야 같이 걸어서 수수라랑 그随便 냠는 지고래서 미션다기 수수 녀바 기베나 수수 심 맞추 봐지 심 힘자 되지 안두신의 심 두신 맞추어 되투어 지고 디저와나 미 망보게这个 콘레스 하고 다 요다시 망보에는 수수 심 제려에나 소소를 균내요 말 지상 수수 르시시 차이 심 기부 용 그래 제래
The great Bodhisattva Shantideva, in his Bodhisattva's way of life, he gives the illustration of if the world is covered in, if the surface of the world is covered in thorns, one will be unable to clear them all away. But rather than trying repeatedly to sweep away thorns that cover the entire earth, if one just puts on shoes, one can travel anywhere and one's feet will stay unharmed. So similarly, the world is full of people, full of beings who act in ways that we at varying times find disagreeable. There's no way that we can ensure that everyone we encounter always acts in accordance with our specific wants in that moment. It's not possible. What is possible is to train our minds well, so that whomever we meet, wherever we go, our mind stays calm and spacious, and thereby we can interact with anyone, no matter what their state of mind, no matter how they communicate to us. Our mind stays undisturbed, and we are able to interact with them. From this space of calm and spaciousness, we can interact with them skillfully.
근데 저기 되니게随便 냠는 삼노탄随便 야고 삼탄 투가 집에 아주 미사지나리나다 아니 지소지나리나다 아니 소수기 随便 냠는 야고 집에나 아니 소수기 미사지네 안 주ኞ다 시는 소수随便 거면다 아니 녀라디 샤샤야 말에 그 조루와 随便 아니 추지랍데 파지랍네 파지랍 추지랍 녀라 샤샤르딘 징리토 마자야다 추부셔야 돼 녀라 전부 뒤채고 지산 지게지도 세버 거미야도 소소 셈마 추바이나 파래 아니 축축시야 당 소소 파 누제제데 딩이 말해 지산 셈마 추바 소소이 판이 녀라 셰베네 소소이 셈마 추바제 근데 코로 말아와제 아 지금 녀라 세리야 무인이 수이다 팀비유 토네 고 팀나 룩수유 토네 고 계시데 세야요로 말 맞아야 되는데 아직 추고 잡제 아직 파다 말아랍 되는 슈리 따야다 되는 제베는 콘로 온 걸리 거 지산 세버 공부이나 대수 연구 말해지래
If one's skilled in the training of patience, then great benefit comes to oneself as well as to all those one encounters. And patience is required wherever we find ourselves, whether it's amongst our family members, or our place of work, or society in general, because we do regularly encounter people who in slight ways or stronger ways act towards us in ways we don't always find disagreeable, or in that moment we don't necessarily find agreeable. But if we trained well in patience, this no longer becomes the case. Whomever we encounter, no matter what turmoil, inner turmoil they happen to be going through, no matter what verbal barrage they throw at us, our mind stays light and spacious. And this means we will not respond in a similar manner. We will not aggravate the conflict by responding in an unskillful way. Rather, because our mind is staying unafflicted because of the dominance of patience, wisdom will be able to shine through. So whilst this person before us is clearly overwhelmed by their afflictions, and they are acting under the control of those, we will not be, because of the presence of patience. And that means we can respond in a way that's skillful, that's specific to this particular situation, and help calm the situation, and at the very least, not exacerbate it. So therefore, when one practices patience, it doesn't mean one's a doormat. One responds, but one responds with wisdom.
ane sosugi dine panyo yongba ta ane kiwa chima samdabe ne nga zuge miliya kiwa ine da 저기 뉴베첨부 아니 미수이 통하다 나와주고 용 거래 나와주고 용 거래 제가 미수이 통배네 나와주고다 아니 수수기 뉴벌 마스는 계시시에베네 아니 지미 연구해야 돼 냐다 어디 찾아야로 저 뉴베첨부디 거래.
In terms of the benefits of the practice of patience, it's clear the benefits in the short term in this life of being patient. One doesn't have conflict anymore. One's mind is not conflicted. One doesn't have aggression arising within oneself or annoyance even. So the short-term benefits are clear for oneself and others. And then the benefits that come in future lives, when these imprints ripen, is that whomever we encounter, we readily establish harmonious relationships with them. We get on with all types of people, and they naturally get on and enjoy our company. And why this is so important in the broader context of our spiritual ambitions is that it means we can readily be a positive influence in others in future lives. Our words will be readily accepted. We'll be able to have a positive influence in the lives of others in future lives.
아디네 다디네 제리아 아니 저기 다디 계침부 슈차고 변해가지고 진배 냠내 지하다 수주인 냠내 쇠배 냠내 숨보디 당한주 최케레 나다 최케 멜레나 최게 삼마다베네 당한제레 저기 지게 세디 삼다베 나가지고 개왕아치 케 렘바이나 세디에다 세치마야 저기 개왕아치 삼다 밀리게 뭐 토바라 교 안에 가르고 세나 아주 주름송 거래 주름송아이나 미게 관련 두고 거래 살레게 관련 두고 거래 얘네 주름손에 밀게 바이네 딱강아 변조다 되네 튕긴 강아 슈슈나 한강아 책으로 와 되네 강한자 진비 냠는 제여도 진비 냠는 제여나 아니 미게 관련 베기 주름 냠는 제 밀게 관련 냠아 주주 진비 냠는 제베기 랑기 튕긴되게 약고 용하다 되네 쇠배 냠내 제베게 원보 창화다 안 소수기 시시대 된바요하다 어디숨데 아주 밀게와나 디고고와 미제 안데 튕긴 창화제 안 소수기 시지유에게 밀술게 셰베나 년조제 미샤상의 짐조제 고고로와 지단디 요바나 저기 디숨보디 나 저기 계침부 슈차고래.
Hearing about the benefits of practicing generosity, ethics, and patience, it's clear that whether one is religious or not, these are important to do, because the benefits that one experiences even in this life are so worthwhile. But from a Buddhist perspective, where our focus is primarily on the results that will come in future lives, these three trainings are crucial. In particular, that of ethical restraint, because in order to achieve our ultimate goal, one has to have good rebirth followed by good rebirth, always needing to ensure we're creating the causes to attain a rebirth in the higher realms as a human or a god. And the primary cause is ethics. And moreover, though, merely be born as a human is insufficient, because we know that one requires a vast number of favorable circumstances in order to be able to continue our spiritual progression. If one, for example, is impoverished, then so much time, physical energy, and mental energy will go into ensuring that ourselves and our families merely survive. It will be difficult then to put time and energy into our spiritual development. So therefore, we also need the results of generosity in future lives to ensure that we have favorable circumstances to continue our spiritual development. And moreover, the practice of patience is crucial in terms of the ripening results in our future lives, so that we have harmonious relationships with others. We get on with all those we encounter, others like us and want to be in our company, and we can have a positive influence on others and thereby guide them too in the direction of virtue. So from our Buddhist perspective, thinking primarily at the ripening results of future lives, these three trainings are of great importance.
아디젤의 전주기 냠내세요. 전주세야디 저기 다데 개위 차와 제리야 가신 조신 가랑라 제 어디네 제가 빼야고 등이 지인 선배 삼로 가 델이야 아니 조회 삼바데 개위 차와 변시행기 동아세다 신기디 샹리아 판도지야 권조를 최고부야 소수기 아니 최기 최년야다 소수기 공자라 가랑라 제 어디 야고를 했으면 가랑라 삼로디 데니게 가위 삼 조회 삼바디 아니 준비시고래 니 아니 지게 니 안에 야동아서 삼당과데 계치모 차고래.
The fourth perfection is that of joyous perseverance. This then in brief means delight in virtue. What marks out this attitude or this mind of joyous perseverance is that when one engages in virtue, delight spontaneously arises within oneself. One isn't, for example, making offering to the 3 jewels because, well, that's what I have to do. One does so with joy. When one helps others, one doesn't do so out of a sense of obligation. One does so with delight in one's mind, taking joy in easing the burden of suffering of others. Likewise, with meditation, delight arises within one's mind when one has the opportunity to meditate, rather than thinking, oh, I just have to do this sometimes. So here, we can see from the description that if, to the extent that one trains in joyous perseverance, one will want to engage ever more in virtuous activities, both those that directly have an impact on others and those such as meditation, which have an indirect benefit for others. So therefore, this training of joyous perseverance too is something we need to engage in repeatedly.
안델이야 안 몰람 자디 계시 무슈 차고래 몰람 세다디 몰람 세디 땅이 안에 지게 게디네 마음바네 게디네 당한 산조고 마토유 바도 아니 징하리야 최야고 땡행 기회신 천이 대바지 채바쇼 게디나 채바다 아니 게디네 최념래 야고지와라와 쇼 세베 삼다 게디네 샹리야 아니 지 동아세 디기투야야 네데니기 다데니 개와사샤베 개와 데솔레 테네 안나 마음바나 게디네 샹리야 디기투야다 동아세 돈다 내가 야침부지 투야다 아니 게디나 말이야 최 야고시에 고급 야고라와 쇼 세베게 아니 몰람이 하네야도 다 그래지.
Yeah, I also want to emphasize the importance of making prayer. So here we need to generate the aspiration that in each and every future life, until I attain the state of a perfected being, until I rise with the pure body, speech and mind of a Buddha, in each and every rebirth, may I meet a Mahayana spiritual teacher, recognize them as such, have great interest in receiving teachings from them and putting those teachings into practice within myself with great vigor, and do so life after life after life until I become a Buddha. And throughout this sequence or this progression of lives, all the virtue that I keep creating, may it always ensure that I help others, that I help ease the burden of suffering in others, and help them, but in particular, to accumulate the causes to achieve their own enlightenment too. So it's important then that we dedicate in this way as well.
다 삼대 냠내 세디레 당아 저기 녀몽바 세디 다 녀몽바가 자원이 매바 빵발라 띵이진 신에세 주고고래 진짜 띵이진 신에 주야 세디 아저 삼대 냠내세 다 신에 주야라야 마 저기 다 돈다라 지 신에 주야기 다 지게 고 망보여래 때 이내 당아 저기 돌돌을 시시야마도 뒤세를 거라요 말에 매완사 당아 저기 신에 주세도 아 저기 셈 유변에 구산이 구르부시 미래야 셈 제주도 내세 될래 제주도 내세 두신 삼다 두신 공제되는 두신 산지 구시를 미신 산지 구디야 로를 두신 샤르제 제디랑 삼다 샹리아 균에 삼마다 제 셈남면 차상 가지 구델이야 제주도 삼다 되게 신의 주비하게 두신은 아주 셈 장고고래.
The fifth training is that of concentration. So concentration is particularly important for the complete eradication of all the afflicted minds. In order to be able to eradicate the afflictions at their very root, one needs a powerful, stable mind of calm abiding that can also analyze with meditative insight too. So when one initially cultivates single-pointed concentration, one can do so on any virtuous object. So just to take the simple illustration of a Buddha image, so one would look well at the Buddha image, gain great familiarity with it, then imagine it, visualize it before oneself, and then slowly try to hold that visualization with single-pointed concentration, without distraction. And when distraction comes, bring your mind back to the object, and do so repeatedly until one attains concentration.
나 디네게 제주도 삼다 고면도 가sam직이야 셈딩아도 제주도 내제 류다 셈 강라야 가다 당보도 시당아도 제주 삼다네 배 셈래야 강아 셈파 트레데 셈래야 강아 몽볼리게 한 수부이네 데데데 비모나야 다 수부나야 다 디네 타마 레고로 저도 진도 검 장야도 데네 가제 되베네 류다 셈래야 강아 메바 리심신도 자베 대화사데 간 야 주수부이나 대랑아 셈리나 대랑 친구 데니게 대랑 대위 심비게 띵인진의 규례 예어도 맞을 규례 신내사의 개발에 삼대 인념의 대가서 쫓아와래 신내사의 기고를 해지.
A more immediate benefit that comes from attaining single-pointed concentration is that our current position of having such a distracted mind, a mind that constantly moves all over the shown with such difficulty, we try and hold an object just for a few moments, that will be gone. So too will all our physical discomfort. That will be gone. And this it's achieved from the very moment that one achieves calm abiding, because the mark of having attained calm abiding is the arisal of the physical and mental bliss of pliancy. When that arises within oneself, one's mind will no longer be distracted. One will be able to hold the object single-pointedly for as long as one chooses, and one will experience no physical discomfort either.
나가서 다들 셰럽시에데 가르치고 왔으나 제바시도 가르쳐바시고 왔으나 나가서 그디네 나세디 나가서야 나세 주열체 나제 제사 나세 삼로시 당볼리고 나가서 나세 삼레네 갈리고 신젤이야 어디 나래 디고구도 딩에 잘라래 딩에 줘버래 딩에 녀녀 사지 두고 델레 미비게 되는 차바기야다 되네 어디 나라모 고구 말에 공에 자오래 강아 가그마 세선 두시네 안델리 미비고 콘르게 안도시네 안에 콘르게 되네 도시네 아주 녀모메게 차상아 세지 리고래 해제래 다도시네 아 제바시데 아 세디 도시데네 리기베바네 아 세디라 간디스 두세 삼당 아주 아 세디 아 세 유요래 다도시네 아디 가와도 간디스 두세데 삼 로리아 샤용도 알야 아 세디 아주 로리아 간디스 샤구도 세비 The
sixth perfection then is that of wisdom. So wisdom, there are many forms of wisdom. In brief or in general, what wisdom means is that it is the mental process of engaging in analysis or investigation. So this is something we all do throughout our days. We think about, what is it that I want to achieve? Why do I want to achieve this? How can I go about achieving it? So the what, this involves analysis. The why, this involves analysis. The how, this too involves analysis. So all of this is the utilization of wisdom. And in the Buddhist path, all these meditations, almost all of them utilize this process of wisdom, of analysis and investigation. But here, in the perfection of wisdom, it refers specifically to the analysis of the self. So, in very brief, one first needs to get an idea of what the sense of self is. How does the self seem to appear to our mind? Thereafter, we need to come to recognize the result of the sense of self that we have, which is that if we have an I, we therefore have a mine, things that the I considers to be mine. For example, my friend, my possession, my enemy. Recognizing this process, that it's because I have an I therefore have mine. Having mine, I therefore have the arisal of afflictions. Attachment for my friend. Aversion towards my enemy. Attachment for my possessions, and so forth. So here, the training of wisdom is first to see how the I appears, and then to investigate, to see, does it exist in the way that it appears or not?
ngadi sosugo subuda subuya mayimba subu dia me de kanchi subu mayimba che ane sosugo semdia memba che ane jige korong gala emado korong weni korang gala emado rang weni yebaru jingan zulya nga se den yebaru nangor lolya.
This first step of the meditation is to recognize how the self appears to us. This is a crucial step. So the way the I appears to us as if it is as if it is independent, meaning it appears as if it is not dependent. What does it appear not to be dependent on? For example, the sense of I appears to be independent of our body, and it appears to be independent of our mind. It appears as if it's separate from these two. So this is how the I appears to us to exist.
Dinilam chesan dinge lagwa renga mare lagruwa chesan dinge subu renga mare lagruwa chesan da nga subu dine nga reyo ma chesan nga zulya tu na yu nga de subu da dinige sem ka ya ma rang wen yu tuba snen go ro ba da su nga se den lo ya na yu phungbo da cha she ka ga la ma kho rang wen yu tuba de snen go nga zulya na du lo ya cha du.
The way then this is usually expressed is that the I or the self appears to us as being independent of the aggregates of the body and of the mind. So for example, if someone says, how are you? And you say, oh, my arm is aching, I'm in pain. And they'll say, your arm is sore. And they'll say, yes, I'm in pain. They'll say, are you your arm? And of course you'll say, no, I'm not my arm. So here we're feeling pain in our arm, and we express ourselves as I am in pain, but we see the sense of self as being something other than our body, yet we talk in this way.
Kala ma to ba rang mun yu zhe nga ji zao ki ni mindu san bi lo chi ki yo de ye chung go de on di ki bi lo de la da dong yu de bi lo si wo da nga zu xie da bi nyam ne se di si wo de.
Then going through a process of analysis similar to this one first recognizes how the I or the self appears, and then investigates to see if one can find the self existing in the way that it appears. And one does, through doing this analysis, one will come to see that such a self cannot be found anywhere. And that is when one comes to an understanding of emptiness. One comes to recognize that the I or the self is empty of existing in the way that it appears. This is the understanding of emptiness, that the I is empty of existing in the way that it appears, and the consciousness that understands this is the consciousness of wisdom, the wisdom being the mind of analysis. So here we have wisdom that has understood emptiness.
on the niggy topic Lodi Comia de la Danganzuki, Comiadi, that the sheriff in Yamnesio, Dechizangazuki, Tick that Oman, Peme, because Pema said Peme said the Digi Tempigi, that thing I did, don't you to be sheriff the DC or that is the Dinyam and Chekores as this or what.
And in the mantra that you've been reciting these last days, this process of analyzing the nature of reality is symbolized by the syllable Pedme.
That in Jugeta or Jike said you Kusum Da Sangi Kusum Tosum Dabu Kusum Di Kusum se. Di Tobe Gudi, Lam Tashin is a Peme, said the Peme Hum, said Lam Tashin, Bodi Sunjeji, Gomguri, said now Gomguri, Sanganjin and Dusiam and Javana, and Dabu Kusum, or Jutuburi, said Gomtanus, that or the Rojishuna in the
The first syllable of this symbolizes the pure body, pure speech, and pure mind of the Buddhas, in this case that of Buddha Chenrezig. And the method for achieving that is mani, so that of the method side, such as compassion and love, and pedme, the wisdom side. And hum symbolizes the union of these two, that they both need to be trained in.
Disu nyunyu madomena and the samta chagua. Chisada, Dineza, Dangazuki, Disu Nyun Roch Samtabena, Dambo Horazanga Sugaya, Laridu, the same gentleman Jedewa, the temper show, Sambika Samlochi, Dine Lamsa, and DJ Lamsa, Simjet Dunga, the Jawa show, Dunga Jaukudu, Sempe Samlochta, and DJ Lea, the same gentleman Dunga, the Jawa, the Simjet Digi Trubade, the Nidi Tapshi Jawa, Jin, Sambika Samlochta. Denzadang, Dangi Tapchebala, Sanje Goban Togo, Chisang, Sanje Goban Toba show, Simjan Tamjig, Dunga Sea, Digi Drubiag, Dondalang, Sanje Goban Toba, Jigin, Papa Genesis Nashin, Chiknaya, Dicha, Yonga Nashin, San Jen Nashin, Yonro Jena, some Toba show, sometimes Simjan Tamji Sanje Goban Toba show, sometimes Jaju Sim Samta, Digelia, and undo sometimes Sevicella, and Tangi Shanlia, and Chia Conchula Cho Puyare, Janlia, the Lunga Lusum Kangi, Tonina, Shalia Robakang, the Susugi, Panto Kanto, Jeans, Beta Susugi, Robert Chains, and Tangis, Beton, Seba the Chang, is some chick star, and Digelia, and Jiggy, and Dingy Lunga use Mukone, Shella, and Chigi, never sets out in Jimmy, Sembe, do you go and I go and Shella, Tsup share, Jun share, and Gorta, Zao in Jimmy. Lu Yukone and Shalia Nobakia, Tusin Zawkin Jigime, Sem Yukone, Shalia, and Nube Sambasakuni, Kichume, and some time to Surim Soya the Chagore. That's ever come said the Digelia, and that Nalia, Shen you never cheva in Nata, and Rangi Kiwi Chawa, Chicheja Ganga Kavana, Delia, Sim Matuba, Sim, Clever do to what Jinia, some big, soon never Ganga takes in a park, Honolulu in the Langmia, some died to saving in Cheva. That the niggy Yamne Kewadin, Ni Kewa Disabala dinner, and the Gidi in the Anga, and Chiki, Chuyapun Yamne Yabuchi, our show, some daddy, that Chiki wishing Yapot Tuyadam, and the Chuk Yamne Yaburaya, and Church Yamne Twin the Yapot Sound, then the own show, some daddy, the Bam as a gate or do some dabena. Then, the some dabena, do Chenesosu, that you see, Gama. The Kazi some two now, Dusul Papi, show some Dana Digor, Nimos some Dana, Wanda, Nidu Kabla some Dana Digor, Design and the Dusukiti, Rava and a sort of go up the Dumbeton to some time. The nigger some of Yansi and Naba in there, then you get Kiwa Chima in Lada Migova, Togore, Gusagore, and then Lada Migova, Tobi, Dientelia, so you twinking the Yoya Gusagore, and then Chige. Lada Migo, Milli Gavin, Ombo Sanwa, and the Chige Chiksosugin, Geshe Thubten Rabten, and me Sweetana, now on Ido Wala Soba, and in Sungore, Molam Dabigi, and Yaniado as the Yajik, Sanyi, Church, and Yaman Kopraya, Givishin, the Teada, and the Church of Gomnamia, ready, and the Ungores, Chisnadi, Mazuki, Jed Bem as a Kichimuchagore.
then just to summarize what we've spoken about then today, and the way that I'll present this now is just in a very brief meditation that I hope you can take away from here and engage in regularly. Because sometimes in your life, you may have more time, and this meditation that I'm presenting you can do in far greater detail. But often you maybe don't have so much time, and in this meditation that I'll present now, literally will take a few minutes. So for example, when you rise in the morning, you generate the wish, as all sentient beings are the same as me in wanting only to experience happiness and to be freed of pain and misery. May all sentient beings, myself and all sentient beings, achieve this, a state of lasting happiness, freed of pain and misery. May I become someone, may I be the person who helps guide others to this state of freedom. May I become a person who can guide others skillfully so that they can attain qualities that lead them to achieve a state freed of pain and misery. And then one makes a commitment. I will become that person. I make this as a promise. I will become a Buddha, the most skilled of guides, for the sake of others. And in this way we generate bodhicitta. Thereafter, we can make some offerings on our shrine to the 3 jewels. And if you're really short of time, whilst you make the offerings, you can go through the rest of the meditation, thinking that in the same way that I'm making offerings now to the 3 jewels, in all my activities throughout today, I will look for opportunities where I can be of benefit to others in any way, whether through my physical behavior, my way of speaking, certainly my way of thinking. Whenever, wherever I can, in accordance with my capacity, be of benefit to others, I will do so. So here, we're practicing generosity. Moreover, today, whatever I'm engaging in, whomever I'm encountering, or when I'm alone, I will ensure I do not directly or indirectly bring any harm to others through my physical behavior, my way of speaking, or even my way of thinking. And here, we're practicing, or we're meditating on ethical restraint. And thirdly, reflecting on patience, we reflect that whatever unwanted circumstance I encounter today, I will ensure I keep my mind calm and spacious. Whether this unwanted circumstance comes from an external cause or comes about from my own inner turmoil, I will ensure that I keep my mind calm and spacious with the wish to be of benefit and not to harm at the forefront of my intention, and thereby respond solely with kindness and with wisdom. And then we can generate great joy at how fortunate we are to be able to engage in this meditation, even if it's maybe taken 3 minutes, even if that's all we have time for right now, how fortunate we are, because we're creating habituation in this way. And then we dedicate with prayers, like mentioned before, that from lifetime to lifetime, may we always retain good rebirths and meet a Mahayana spiritual friend, recognize them as such, have strong interest in receiving teachings and training in these, and make wholehearted effort. And all this virtue, may it always ensure that all beings live in accordance with the Dharma, and may we all attain a state freed of suffering. So this is a very quick meditation. It's just taken a few minutes, and it is a meditation, and that is a thought process. So if you have these few minutes in the morning, then I'd encourage you to do it. And I'd also then encourage you to, during the course of the day, look for where you have a few minutes, whether it's driving your car or boiling some water, and repeat this reflection. Because meditation means habituation or familiarity. And the more one does this, the stronger the familiarity comes. And in this way, through meditating like this in the morning, perhaps, or certainly too, if one could do it in the day, and then again in the evening, quickly we'll become habituated in this way. And then we'll start to see the results in our daily lives, how we respond to situations differently from before. And then lastly, we can remind ourselves of the results of this, because the stronger habituation is, the stronger the results will be, which means better rebirth, more favorable circumstances, and more opportunity and skill in being of benefit to others. And I just want to say that all of you have come here to engage in this retreat, recite the mantras, and engage in these meditations. This brings really great joy to me. And moreover, independence on you coming here, I've had the opportunity to explain the Mani Mantra, so thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I'm also aware that many of you traveled quite a distance to come here. I recognize some who have come from Adelaide, and I understand there are others who have come from even further afield. So again, thank you so much for doing so. And we can also be certain that the holy beings in our world, such as Zopa Rinpoche, he will be particularly joyous that all of you have come together here to engage in these meditations and accumulate these mantras. So when we come to dedicate the virtue, please dedicate that all sentient beings attain both temporary happiness, such as freedom from the pandemic and all other sufferings, as well as the lasting, stable happiness of enlightenment. And then lastly, Happy New Year for tomorrow, and I really wish you all the very, very best in terms of your spiritual development, health and well-being for the years to come.
Yeah.
Thank you.